Hey there, this is John Paulus. You're listening to Life's Potluck Buffet. I'm glad you could join me today. Do you have a hobby horse? I do. Find out more on this episode of Life's Potluck Buffet after this 3.5 second musical interlude. Worksheet 28 is entitled My Hobby Is. And the is in a yellow lemon dot that's in the middle of 3 yellow lemon dots. And the instructions on worksheet 28 say, draw an image of one of your hobbies and then write about it. And below that, there's a very small black frame with rounded corners that I guess where we'll draw an image. Unless you're Salvador Dali, in which case draw it anywhere in the room or anywhere in the universe. So the reason I brought up hobby horse in the introduction to today's episode is that that's what the word hobby comes from. And a hobby horse, I've learned, originally was a small riding horse, like an actual horse. And so whatever the hobby meant, it had something to do with it being a small riding horse. Apparently, what happened after that is representations of this horse, whether in costume or in the form of, the horse on the springs that you ride, a rocking horse, or the horse head on a stick, the doll-like head of a horse on a stick that a child can pretend they're riding a horse by, using the stick. That's what became known as a hobby horse. And apparently in the 19th century, it started to mean something that you return to frequently as I was going to say occupation, but I mean occupation here in a preoccupation, a thing that you return to often, right? In terms of work you do or play. We also have a phrase, the word also means in modern English, in many dialects of modern English, hobby horse means something a topic that you keep on returning to. If someone has a hobby horse, it's just like, Jim's always going to come, he's always going to talk about, I don't know, his outboard motor in the boat that he just got, and he always talks about it, and that kind of thing. Usually it's about something that I think you have a position on. I guess most people don't have a stance one way or the other on outboard. Well, if Jim was like, I don't have inboard motors, the motors that are actually inside the boats, right? I only have outboard motors, the kind of boat motors that you attach to the end of a boat, and they are, above the stern of a boat. If Jim constantly was proclaiming the advantages of outboard motors to inboard motors, that would be a hobby horse. That's what I would describe as a hobby horse. If he just kept on talking about the motor, we'd call it something else, maybe just like repetitive. Okay, so let's go to this worksheet. My hobby is. Draw an image of one of your hobbies and then write about it. Well, since I've been talking about hobby horses, I'm actually going to draw an image of a hobby horse. And we will hope this goes well. I'm choosing a color. I guess I'll choose. Trying to look for a horse-like color. Okay, how about this? All right. I chose a chestnut brown, I think. And I've noticed that the colors sometimes look a little bit different on YouTube than they do on my screen. So I don't know if that's something I'm doing or what. So I'm going to draw the hobby horse. What am I doing? Okay, is this gonna work? Well, you know what? This might start to be a hobby moose. I gotta tell you, looking at the was supposed to be its snout, that's yeah. This is now like a hobby dinosaur. Yeah, yeah. That's not good. Yeah. So basically, it could be a triceratops. Um, that's not a hobby horse. That's a hobby dinosaur. So I'm gonna have to make a few changes to make it look more like a horse. Um, aha! I see a way forward because those triceratops horns can turn into its ears. Oh, look at this! Look at this! And instead of looking to the left, I'm gonna make the horse look to the right. Oh, this is improving. This is improving. There we go. I made it sound like this was magic. It's not that magical. But if you're listening, just pretend like it's magical. Pretend this is a magical moment. I wish I could rotate this a little bit. Oops, I just drew a. Okay. All right. Now the horse looks like it's wearing glasses for a nose, but that's okay. I think if I just maybe did that. No, now I can move this ear over here. Oh boy. Um, yeah, you know what? This hobby horse, and I have to draw, maybe I'll draw a neck on it, and then we can have this isn't the worst horse ever drawn. Is it the best horse ever drawn? Absolutely not. But is it the worst horse that's ever been drawn? No. And then I'm going to make, wow, I don't think this was so bad. I really don't. You know, if you have a chance to look at the video, judge for yourself. But I think this is not the worst horse head. And then there's a stick. Yeah, okay. So we're making like kind of a stick that goes out to the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Oh boy. All right. I was trying to give it a little bit of roundness and depth there, but it made it look square. So I'm going to take that off. I'm always drawing little dots all around when I do these things. Okay, that's great. Draw an image of one of your hobbies and then write about it. Okay, I'm going to go get a text box and type this out because we all know if I start writing this out, this is going to be. What am I going to say my hobby is? Well, I'm going to say my hobby is drawing. My hobby is drawing. All right. And what am I going to say about that? I have drawn with a pencil. I have drawn with a pen. This is starting to turn into Dr. Seuss. I don't know what rhymes with pencil. Oh, stencil. I have drawn with a stencil. There aren't any more. And then do I have to rhyme with pen? My hobby is drawing. I have drawn with a pencil. I have drawn with a pen. I have drawn with a stencil. And then I'll say, although I can't. Okay, I'll write cannot. So we won't use can't. I'll use cannot. Remember will be a little more formal. When? That's not a whole sentence. So what I'm going to do is put a comma after stencil. You really ought to begin the sentence with although. That's the only problem is I didn't do that. That's okay. It's kind of, if I've drawn with a stencil, well, I could do comma, although I cannot remember when. And boy, all of these, I'm also a poet apparently. My hobby is drawing. I've drawn with a pencil. I've drawn with a pen. I've drawn with a stencil. I've drawn with a stencil, although I cannot remember when. Huh. That's not so bad. I like our little poem there. So download Worksheet 28 for yourself. Play around with it. Draw an image of one of your hobbies and then write about it. You don't need to write a poem if you're not inspired to. You could just write whatever you're feeling. So I hope you have a great day, and I'm so glad you could join me on Life's Potluck Buffet. Oh, I'm still rhyming. But I'm just going to rhyme for the rest of the day now. All right. You take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. I don't have any more rhymes.